Hello, everybody. This is Simona Mainini with Feng Shui for Architecture. We are a consulting firm that specializes in the application of Feng Shui to every existing building, both commercial and residential. And particularly because of my background in architecture, we focus on projects at the design stage, at the beginning design stage. In 2012, after teaching for several years at UCLA Extension in the Department of Interior Architecture and Design here in Los Angeles, I decided to expand the teaching and to create a training center. And ever since then, we had several designers, architects, engineers, and Feng Shui enthusiasts taking our classes to learn more about Feng Shui and how to apply it. Some professionals want to apply Feng Shui for architecture to their services, and others just are curious and they want to learn it for themselves, for their own property, for friends, and maybe they even want to start a career as Feng Shui consultant. So today, the reason why I'm having this video is to address some of the questions that most of you, when they first contact us, ask us about Feng Shui. There appear to be a lot of information out there. Some of them are not always accurate or they're confusing. And so I'm just pick between few of those that they're usually asked, and I'm looking at answering for you today. And let's see if this helps clarifying a little bit. First of all, let me start by saying that in our school and in our firm, we practice classical, traditional Feng Shui as it was developed over the centuries in the Imperial Chinese court. We do not use Western simplified Feng Shui. We do not use folk belief. We use a system that is based on the laws of nature, on the movement of the celestial body and the effects on the earth, how the magnetic field of the earth changes and how it affects the building and the people. So everything that we do is related to the cycle of natures, the cycle of season, the cycles of the sun in relationship to the earth. We do not use, just folk belief or simplified systems. So if that's what you're looking for, probably our school is not for you. So let me just address some of these questions based on our background. So I have a notes here. Sorry, I'm looking on the side to look at my notes. So one of the most popular questions that I have for people, when they heard that I'm a Feng Shui consultant, or they just simply send me an email or call me up on the phone, it's I moved in a new house and I would like to know what direction I should place my bed. What is the best direction for me to be sleeping into? That is not a cookie cutter answer for us. I know some books would tell you one direction or another. For somebody that is classically trained like myself, it's a little bit more complex. This comes from a theory based on the 8 trigrams, and the 8 trigrams, which are also the one that are used in the I Ching, they are based on a person's date of birth. So based on a personal particular energy, it's also identify the best sleeping direction for this person. So for some people it might be north, for some other people it might be south, for other people it might be east, for other people it might be west. And also, for some people it might be northwest, and for other might be northeast, and for other might be southeast or southwest. And so it's not possible to give just a cookie cutter approach answer, because there isn't such. Each of us is different based on our date of birth. We have a different imprint of energy that we are born with. And so everything that we do in Feng Shui is actually highly customized. And that's not just about the sleeping position, but also goes for everything else in a living environment, in whether it's a house or an office or a commercial building. Of course, if we have public buildings versus, private residence, the things that we can do are different. But since we're talking specifically about the sleeping position here, the sleeping position, the short answer to the sleeping position is that it really depends on the personal energy that somebody is born with. And of course, you know, in our school, we teach how to do that. It's just a little bit complicated to explain without one specific case study in mind, because as I said, everything is highly customized in Feng Shui. Let me look at the next question. So it says, oh, there are many questions about different features, whether these are stairs in front of an entrance, or there are beams on the ceilings, or there are water next to the entry door or in the backyard. And the question generally is, I read somewhere that this feature is negative. What can I do to correct it? Is it really that bad? Should I move in a different house? So again, I hate to sound like a broken record, but you know, every situation is really different. So let's take, for example, the beams on the ceiling. The beams on the ceiling, generally speaking, you know, we don't like them. But you have to also think that in the old days, when they talk about beams on the ceiling, they were actually talking about structural beams. So those were really large beams. They were crossing the ceiling. Maybe, you know, if the house was built 2,000 years ago, maybe it wasn't very tall, the roof wasn't very tall, so the beams was really, large beams would be really overpowering over the people that would be living underneath, whether they were sitting in a living room or sleeping, you know, that would be, you know, an obviously undesirable circumstance. So when we talk about in modern days, when we talk about beams on the ceiling in modern days, we need to distinguish, are these structural beams or are decorative beams? If they're structural beams, usually they're hidden, because normally the way we design homes these days and age, you have the beams and then you have the drop ceiling, whether it's a commercial drop ceiling or a residential drywall ceilings. So you are not actually seeing them. So if you're not seeing them, they are not a problem. If they are very shallow decorative beams, sometimes they can be removed if you really want to be on the safe side, or sometimes if they're very shallow and the ceiling is very high, they might not bother you as much, so you don't need to do anything. I've seen some really strange cases where the beams were very randomly, you know, crossing the ceiling everywhere, and so those were not really the greatest thing. But if we have, for example, a restoration of an antique building, and so they might have exposed structural ceilings, structural beams, we might be able to cover them or we might not be able to cover them. It also depends how high your windows are, because if we have very tall windows, we might not be able to lower the ceiling. So these are all considerations that we need to keep in mind when we are addressing something like that. So that's why, you know, it's hard to give a cookie cutter approach, and I choose instead of teaching a class so I can explain in details everything that has to do with the beams. And the other things that I wanted to also mention is that sometimes they might not be a problem, because you might have a large room with a beam on one side of the room and your bed might be on the other side of the room, and so it's really not affecting the person. The beams only affects you negatively if there are a lot of them, if they're very big and they're overpowering, and if you spend a lot of time underneath. That's why usually we do not like the beams in the bedrooms or in an office where you work full time, or you know, in any room where you spend an extent amount of time. But other than that, I understand that in the Western world, we really like our beams. They are very decorative, and you know, so there might be a room where we want to keep them. So the compromise would be, let's keep them in room that are not a room where we spend a lot of time. And also just remember that if you enter in a room and the beams are really big and they make you feel uncomfortable, that's usually is a good sign that something is off with the chi, because we respond to the chi on an emotional level. Our body responds in an emotional level. So if we feel uncomfortable, it probably means that the chi is not that great. And if we feel very comfortable, instead means that for whatever reason, the chi is pretty good. And so if you step into a room, maybe you're looking at buying a house, or, you're visiting a friend and you step into a room and all of a sudden there is this ginormous being standing there and you feel like, oh, that's overpowering. It's kind of like make me feel uncomfortable. That's usually a sign that probably the feng shui is not that great. So follow your instinct in that sense. So that one was one of the examples. I could go on and elaborate on every single feature of a building. So that's why I teach a class, right? All right, let me look at the next question. One other popular one. How do I lay the bagua on the floor plan on my home? Okay, this is another $1 million question. So when we talk about bagua, we really need to clarify here, because the term bagua in Chinese means 8 trigrams. Ba means 8, gua means trigrams. So there are those, broken line and continuous line that you see in the I Ching book, or if you've taken classes with us before, I might mention that, particularly in our forecast that we do at the beginning of the year. I normally look at the I Ching hexagram for the entire year, and so I talk about the continuous line and the broken line. So these gua are these trigrams, broken line and a continuous line, which are actually combination of yin and yang. And they are also based on the tidal hexagrams, which are the hexagram as they change through the season. And they teach us, the different component of yin and yang that are in pretty much every month of the year. So having said that, this is long premises here. But so when we talk about 8 gua, we talk about the 8 trigrams. And the 8 trigrams are actually used in a variety of applications. They're used, for example, as I was explaining earlier about the bed position, they're used to identify which one is your gua, is your personal gua, for the purpose of knowing which direction is best for you to sleep in. We also use it to figure out what colors are better for you, but we also use them to figure out what energy the house has, what color are better to decorate the house, what material are better to decorate the house. And I'm not talking about just one room in the house, I'm talking the entire house and the individual room. So there are multiple applications. So, and also in classical feng shui, we use the gua in relationship to the orientation of the building. We use a compass like this one that I have back here. We use a compass to gather our information about the orientation, and also we use the date of construction of the building, because also the date of construction has a certain gua. And so the combination of the gua of the orientation of the house, the year of construction, the people that live in a house, they determine a certain particular bagua application for the house, which is different for everybody because there are so many variables. And so the simple question, how do I apply my bagua? It seemed to me like it comes from somebody that has read, and I don't mean to be disparaging or anything, I'm just trying to figure things out. Could be from somebody that had read a book, maybe a Western Feng Shui Western simplification book, where they use a very, very simplified application of the 8 trigram, which it's really not that accurate. It doesn't really work all that well. So for somebody that is classically trained, I personally probably wouldn't use that kind of bagua because I don't feel it gives me enough information. I don't think I can do a good job. And frankly, I do not teach that bagua in my classes either. I was trained in a classical system that was a lineage system, which means it was faithfully passed down from master to students without interruption. And one of the benefits of doing that is that you get to benefit from what the previous masters have learned about what works and what doesn't. And so my teacher used to say, I'm not teaching you anything that is not being verified by myself, and I know that works, and I'm also tell you how it works. And in fact, when I start practicing, and when my students start practicing, right away, they know, if this is the situation, probably this is happening, and this is how you fix it, more importantly. So this is how we apply the Bagua. We keep in account all the different Bagua, and then we learn how to prioritize in which situation what has the priority, whether is the energy of the occupant that is the priority, or whether is the energy of the building that has the priority, or how we compromise the two of them if they're not matching and they need adjustments. And so again, there is no cookie cutter approach. It's just a little bit extensive in that way. So let's see. Next question. I am buying a house. What should I be looking for? Ooh, this is another $1 million question, because, based on what I just explained you, is there are so many different things that you look at, and all of them, once I do the consultation, or how I teach my student to do a consultation, is to look at every single things before giving an opinion, because our opinion as consultants should be an informed opinion. And so in order to have an informed opinion, you need to know what kind of information you need to look for. And so the year of construction of the building, the orientation, the date of birth of the occupants, the date of construction of the building, all those things come into play when we do we do teach a class on Feng Shui on buying tips that gives a little bit of insight for people that are looking at buying homes, and on how to buy a house that is more compatible with them. And so if you're actually looking at buying a house, you might want to check out that class on our website at fengshuitrainingcenter.com, and you can still view the video there, and it has some tips on how to help you and assist you in choosing a good house. Ultimately, the best way is always a consultation, because you have a professional opinion of somebody that have seen a lot of houses and maybe can give you something extra. But if you desire to do it on your own, please refer back to our class, because you might find also a lot of good information there. It's a 2-hour class, so it goes a little bit beyond the scope of this video. So that's why I'm referring you to that instead of giving you the 2-hour explanation here. But generally speaking, there are many things that we should be looking at. One other question that I received recently, actually, this one is from this buyer, this lot buyer, that is planning on buying a house and build a house on a lot that has a river running next by. And so the question that is asking is, I'm building this house and there is a river running through it. So what is it, good or bad? What should I be looking for? What direction should the river be moving? Well, first of all, when we are purchasing a lot, it would be best to purchase a lot when we know already what kind of house we're building on it. So it's advisable to start from the back of the process and figuring out first, okay, what's your date of birth, what's the best orientation in this construction timing that would work for you, and then look at buying a lot that can fit that type of house, where we can build that type of house. And that works best when we have a lot of availability of land, because once you get the lot and there is a river running through it, and the river goes in a certain direction, from a certain direction to a certain direction, you cannot change that anymore. So you need to work with that. So if you already have the lot, and the lot is a large lot, it's an advantage, because we can decide, okay, I can build a house here, or I can build a house there. and adjust your house in relationship to the lot. But when you start from scratch and you start from knowing what you need for your house, then you can select the lot based on that. And so it can work both ways, but generally, you know, if we have a lot of land availability and a lot of lots that we can choose, then it's better to start from the reverse. But of course, if you have already a lot, maybe you are in an area where lots are very scarce and you're lucky enough to get a lot in that area, then of course we have to work with that and make it work with that. And luckily, you know, in classical Feng Shui that I was training, there are many applications, and we know how to compromise or how to fix, which is the most important things. You know, we know how to design it and how to fix it. It's not just about, oh yes, this is good and this is bad. It's more about, okay, this is good, great, or this is not that great. What can I do to fix it? So this is something that I cover extensively in our classes. And so, you know, if you are a designer that is looking for answer for your client, because you're working with a client that is sensitive to Feng Shui and it asks you to incorporate Feng Shui in their project, you know, a consultation probably would be preferable. Or if you have many clients that are Feng Shui sensitive, then I really suggest you to take our class, because you can learn extra services where you can be more effective in your consultations with them. And also, you know, even if you are civilian and you're just very passionate about Feng Shui, and you know, you always felt very sensitive to the energy of your environment and you want to learn more, you're welcome to attend our classes. Our classes, I teach what I learn. So it's not going to be a question and answer. If you are trained in the past with somebody from a different school and your information are not clear, not match what I teach, you would need to empty your cup before you take our classes, because I'm going to be teaching what I learn. I'm not going to have a private one-to-one session answering questions and correcting mistakes. So I just want to warn you on that. But other than that, everybody that wants to learn what I learn is welcome. And our classes, our certification programs, I have 3 certification programs that I've created, and there are 3 different levels, so people can go as far as they want. The first one is an advanced Feng Shui for interior design, for architecture, interior design, and landscape. And it's 36-hour training. And it's currently divided in 3 courses, beginning, intermediate, and advanced. In the beginning one, we learn design feature, primarily internal to the building and external to the building. So we focus on the design feature. So this is, at least this course is really good for people that want, for designer, for professional designer, that are looking to learn quickly some information that they can use to offer this service to their clients. And then of course, all the classes built on top of that, they're all progressive. So in the intermediate class, we learn to take the compass reading, to lay the grid on the building, to match people and building. So the intermediate class is all about matching people and building. So learning about the energy of people, what these people needs, how to match them with the right building, and so on and so forth. And the advanced class, the advanced course of the Feng Shui for architecture, interior design, and landscape, we covered the time and how time and orientation affect the energy of a building, whether it's residential or commercial. Any building that has 4 sides and a roof is going to have an energy imprint. So we are going to learn how that affects people, and then we're going to learn how to integrate it also with what we learn in the intermediate course and in the beginning course. So we're going to put it all together. And so right there and then you could start, you know, doing case study. In fact, I have a couple of assignments during the class that you will be asked to do just to practice, because I noticed that practice really makes a huge difference. And then that's already at the end of those 3 courses, that would be the first certification, the first certificate. And then if you decide to continue, if you want to become a professional consultant, I have another certificate program after that, which is called Professional Feng Shui Consultant Program. And there are 4 classes of 6 weeks each. We go in advanced theories, advanced applications, time selection. We learn, more details, also more information that we haven't learned in the first course. And so by the end of that, you become quite proficient. And then the third program is our Feng Shui Mastery Program. And the Feng Shui Mastery Program is primarily geared at case studies and review case studies with me. The reason why I make you do the case studies is because I want you to master what you learn in the professional course and in the foundation course. And you only become a master by actually applying things. You do not become a master just by studying theory. So that's why I require you to do those case studies. And I'm also having some advanced classes, mastery classes, where I answer the question that you guys have in the mastery when you are at the mastery level, and we address things on a much more advanced and professional level. Because the knowledge of Feng Shui is not an app that you download into your brain. You really need to take the theory and then go out and practice, because once you start practicing, you see that there are a million of different ways that this application works. That's why it takes 10 or 20 years for people to become master, or used to take in the old days. I'm trying to structure this process a little bit more to ease you and to help you progress along a little bit faster. But you need to put the work in, because otherwise, you will not be able to master in this thing. And then when a complex situation comes along and you mess it up because you are not prepared, then can end up creating quite a bit of karma. And really, I don't want that, neither for my clients, for my students, or my students' clients either. So that's why I'm very conscientious, and I try to teach in the most comprehensive way possible. So if you'd like to join us, I'm going to leave you the information here at the end of this video, and also at the box here below. Our beginning classes, which is the first class, course 1 of our foundation course in Feng Shui for architecture, interior design, and landscape, is the starting point for everybody, with or without previous training. Because I don't know, even if you have previous training, I don't know where you study, I don't know what you study, and I want to be able to, talk to everybody in the same way and make sure that everybody understands me. So everybody needs to start from the beginning, no exception, I'm sorry. So in beginning 1, as I said, we are going to be talking about the design feature with the environmental feature. So the large environment surrounding a building and the small environment, which has to do with the design of the building. We are going to have a live webinar for that. Usually we offer it as a live webinar once a year, and it's usually in the spring, and we normally start middle of April. And so it's going to be a 6-week course, which is going to take it until the end of May. And then the following classes are agreed upon with the students of the class. So we can go to the pace that the class decides. So this first live webinar, class 1, starts on April 23rd, 2022. Next year might be a different day, but it would be somewhere in the middle of April. This year, April 23rd is a Saturday morning. So we're going to meet on Saturday morning at 11 Pacific time. And you're welcome to join from any time zone or anywhere else in the world if it works for you. And we're going to progress for 6 weeks, and then we're going to decide, if we want to start right away the course number 2, or if you want to take a few weeks off or start it after the summer, I'll decide with a class. Also, if the live webinar for you is not an option, this course is available as pre-recorded course. And you can also find information on our website at fengshuitrainingcenter.com. It's a slightly different format. It's still the same material, still 36 hours, but the video are a little bit longer. There are 3-hour videos for the moment. And so there are 12 video of 3 hours each, is 36 hours. And then at the end of that, there is a one-to-one live meeting with me. It's not an exam. Is just I want to give you the opportunity of reviewing with you and give you feedback on your assignments, because even if you do the self-study, we will still have the assignments. But they're fun, I promise. People really love doing the assignments, especially if they can use their own home or they can use the home of somebody that they know. They love to have the opportunity of applying it in person, and usually have a lot of questions after that. So that's why if you do the self-study course and you don't get to interact with me for the length of the course because you're doing at your own pace, and so I'm not there on, you know, back and call, but I want to give you the opportunity of reviewing your case study with me so I can give you feedback and answer any personalized question that you might have accumulated in the course of you know, taking the course and doing the course. So I will leave you the information also here below, and you can also always go to our website at fengshuitrainingcenter.com for any question you might have about any of our classes. We also have a variety of other classes. They're not certificate program. We have classes on Feng Shui organizing, Feng Shui home decorating, short classes on Feng Shui home staging for sellers, Feng Shui for home buyers. So you're welcome to browse and find any class you might be interested in. And if you're interested, like I am, I'm very excited about Feng Shui and really learning the classical system. I am looking forward to see you on April 23rd in our live webinar. Our live webinar usually are open mic, meaning that there is a direct interaction. I'll be on video. You're not on video, so you can be in your pajama if you want. Because I'm going to show on the screen, I'm going to show the PowerPoint presentation, so I cannot have too many, you know, cameras on the screen, otherwise I won't be able to see anything. But I'll be recording it, and so if you miss a class from week to week, you can always catch up during the week. But the mics are open, and so if you have any question, you can ask them just like you were in a regular class. There is a way of raising your hands, and you know, you can ask the question, and I'll be answering, and so on and so forth. So it's a very direct class. I know if you have been in some of our other shorter classes, like for example the forecast that we do at the beginning of the year, we normally have over 100 people. And the class is always packed, so I have to have everybody muted because otherwise the background noise would be so strong that nobody would be able to hear me. But if you are in our smaller classes, usually are much more smaller and intimate, and they're really based on a direct exchange between the teachers and the students. So I'm looking forward to teaching those classes. And so anyway, I'm looking forward to see you then. Please let me know if you have any questions. And again, if you want to read more about our program, fengshuitrainingcenter.com, and you will find all the answer that you might need, or you can always email me if you have more. And also the registration forms are in on the site. In every page, there is also our registration form, and the registration form has all the pricing. And I also advise you when we announce the class, we always have an early registration promotion, which usually is a really nice discount. So keep an eye out for it and try to register as soon as possible to take advantage of those discounts, because as we progress towards the class, then that discount will expire and you will need to pay the full fee. But you can always join at the last minute, but the price will be a little bit higher. So just want to let you know that for future references. So keep an eye on our registration forms, because the prices are usually on the registration form. I am looking forward to see you in our classes, and be well, take care of yourself, and looking forward to see you then. Bye.